Hello and welcome to the third edition of Cultural Cooking. I'm Regan Driscoll and I'm here with Alana Leonard from Luxembourg, and today we're going to be making hash browns with applesauce. Now, where is this typically served?
It's typically served at a Christmas market every year, and then in a summer fair.
Okay, what's the summer fair?
It's like a fun fair. Mm-hmm. It originated from a lamb swapping fair, but now it's turned into with Ferris wheels, food, waffles, roller coasters.
The whole shebang.
Yeah.
And why, or what are you celebrating?
The swapping of the lambs, I guess.
Swapping of the
Yeah.
lambs. And because lamb is a really big dish in your culture?
No, it was a farmer's fair where they would swap their animals and crossbreed and things like that, and then it just sort of evolved
from there.
hundreds of years ago. Yeah.
Okay, so here in America we've got fried dough at our fairs, and you guys have hash browns and applesauce.
Yeah.
So the ingredients are really simple. All you're going to need today are potatoes, apples, olive oil, some sort of cooking oil, and then cinnamon and sugar. So what should I do first, Alana?
Okay, well, we need to peel and then grate the potatoes.
Okay. So I have a couple peeled and grated already. Okay. And what's the name of this food specifically? Here it's hash browns and applesauce, but...
Well, we call it Grompelkielschischer.
All right, and how about the fair?
The fair itself is called the Schubefeuer.
All right.
Right now we're doing them in a string form, but originally it would be served in the shape of a patty.
So grating the potatoes, you can use any size grater you want. It just depends on how thick you want your hash browns cut.
And they would serve it to you in groups of 3. So you get 3 in one plate.
Oh, okay.
About the size of your hand, a bit less.
Oh, not bad. Can you make little sandwiches out of them?
You could, but most people don't. You just eat them like that with the applesauce.
All right, you just eat them with your hands?
Yeah.
When you grate the potatoes, they're going to come out really wet. So what you want to do is you can either use a potato ricer and squeeze the moisture out, or I don't have one of those, so you can just take paper towels and just push down until you get all of that extra moisture out. And I think we're all good.
So I'm going to peel and chop up the apples. Can you get me a 1/4 cup of sugar, please?
Okay, and how many apples?
4.
All right.
And I can finish up with the apples if you want to head over to the stove.
Just chop them to about this size?
Yes, that's perfect.
Good. All right, so we've got all of our apples ready now.
Okay, so you want to put a layer of olive oil onto the pan so that the potatoes don't stick. Regan, can you come over here with the potatoes, please?
Yep. Coming right along. And just... So the potatoes are actually going to be cooking in the oil. So you want a nice flat layer. So you just let them sit there until they start to brown on one side, and then you flip them over. In the meantime, let's get started on the applesauce. So for the applesauce, we're going to be combining the apples, the sugar, and then 3/4 a cup of water and just a half a teaspoon of cinnamon all into a saucepan on medium heat, and we're just going to cover it for like 15-20 minutes. See, so you want that color of the water to be like a brown. You can see it's kind of starting to coat the apples. So now we're just going to cover the saucepan, and like I said, for about 15-20 minutes and just let it sit.
So the hash brown's starting to be cooked on one side, so I'm just going to start turning them around.
And notice that brown color, that's what you want so that they're nice and crispy.
These look really good.
All right. So these have been on here about 20 minutes. You can see that they're really soft. Now we're going to take them out and mash them up. So you can see just how mushy these apples are now. So I'm going to scoop them all out and slip them onto the plate. You can just take a fork and mash them right up. And see how easy that is? They're coming right apart. Apples right into sauce. So we've got our hash browns cooked, we've got our applesauce already. Now how is this typically served?
Usually you get the applesauce and the hash brown separate, and you would either, depending on everybody's style, either you would pour the applesauce onto the patties or you would dip them into the applesauce. So I guess here we might as well just scoop.
Just pour it on in. And how do you pronounce it again?
Grumpelkielschischer.
Grumpelkielschischer. And the fair?
The Schubefeuer.
Schubefeuer. All right. I'll let you get your scoop now.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry there. Mix that all up. See how it turned out.
It's nice.
Normally I have my hash browns with peppers, onions, that sort of thing. I've never had it with something sweet, but it's really good.
Yeah, they complement each other, the tastes.
Definitely, especially I love the little crunch with the hash browns.
Yes.
So I've never been to Luxembourg before. What is something that I should definitely know before going there?
I think the first thing I'd tell you is to keep an open mind, because Luxembourg might be very small, but it's very special and different because it's multicultural. So although you might not be able to speak a language, you're going to hear thousands of them around you. The chances of finding someone who speaks English will be very big. And so yeah, just keep an open mind, you know?
So would you say there's no real main language of Luxembourg then?
Well, there are 3 official languages, German, French, and Luxembourgish.
Okay.
But even then, the whole 60% of the population is foreign. So when you walk down the street, you'll hear English, Portuguese, Luxembourgish, German, French, Spanish, everything.
That's great. So you've been exposed to a lot of different cultures. How has that helped you come here to America?
I think it's one of the reasons that I came to America, because I was exposed to all these cultures and I was grown with it. And to me, it makes me want to go out and see all the other cultures that I don't know. Mm-hmm. For instance, the American culture, which people think they know from TV and everything, but they don't. It's completely different once you get here.
So what have you learned that's different then?
Everything's bigger.
Everything's bigger, like what?
Everything's bigger. Toothbrushes. Bottles of Coke and things, and a small fries at McDonald's will be what we call a medium.
Oh wow,
like
serving sizes.
Yeah, and then
portion.
I feel like a lot of people are always in a rush with the drive-through McDonald's, which we have, but we don't have a drive-through coffee place or a drive-through pharmacy, which I find very strange as well.
Interesting. And what's your favorite part about being here versus being in Luxembourg?
The people are nicer.
Interesting. How so?
In Luxembourg, like a lot of places in Europe, especially Eastern Europe, people aren't very nice. Like if you walk past someone in the street and you say hi, they might not answer you. If you bump into them, they'll give you a dirty look. Whereas here, if you meet someone you don't know or someone bumps into you, everybody apologizes. Everybody's just so lovely.
Oh, wow.
It's really nice.
Interesting. And what do you think would be the biggest difference if I went to Luxembourg for me?
The food.
The food?
The food, yeah.
So what's a typical meal like at home?
It depends, because I mean, since it's multicultural, everybody cooks and eats a bit of everything. Mm-hmm. But the traditional Luxembourgish meals are usually meat and potatoes.
Okay. So we've got one half of that right here.
Exactly.
What do you typically do for fun in Luxembourg?
Sorry.
No, take your time. Eat away. It's delicious.
Not that much to do. Mm-hmm. But mainly concerts. They organize a lot of free concerts and festivals, as well as ones you have to pay for, but they're not expensive. There's the music scene is amazing.
Is it a certain type of music or?
Everything.
Everything?
They do
even
everything.
Rap?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
German rap even.
German rap.
Everything.
I'd be interested to hear how that sounds.
It's awful, let me say. And then the drinking age is 16, so we always have somewhere to go. Like, even if it's not necessary, we don't get drunk. We don't go out to get drunk, but we would go out for a chat with our friends. Okay. So after work, I would go to a bar and have a nice drink with a couple of my friends, and then go home.
Now, you said you don't get drunk there, so is that a difference you noticed being here in the college scene?
Here, I've met 25-year-olds who are pass out on the floor after a couple of drinks. And that shocks me, because at the age of 14, 15, we know how to handle our drink, and we know to be civilized with it and everything, so.
And would you say that's because of the young drinking age?
I think so, and then also we're my parents and all my friends' parents were a lot more relaxed. I was always allowed to taste my parents' alcohol. It was never shunned upon. So I think that's very important as well.
Okay. How about environment-wise and scenery? What's it like in Luxembourg?
It's beautiful. It's similar to here in the sense where there's a lot of hills and everything, a lot of trees. But Luxembourg City, for instance, has a valley and so many trees. I show people photos of Luxembourg and they tell me that it looks like a fairy tale place.
Oh, wow.
It's very cute, yeah. There are so many different little parts of it in the city alone, which are so diverse but so pretty.
And how about architecturally?
Low buildings. I mean, we only have a couple of skyscrapers in the business area of Luxembourg, which are only about 20 floors. But they're all really pretty houses, old townhouses, 2 floors, 3 floors maybe maximum. Very, very pretty. It's very pretty.
Nice. So you're here to further your education. How is schooling different here in the States versus back home?
There's difference in the sense where when you apply to go to university, you have to apply within a subject. So you don't apply to the university, you apply to the subject.
Interesting.
So for instance, if you were to study law, you would have to make an application to the law department.
Okay, so do you prepare for that in high school then, and more focus on the subjects you're going to want to cover in college?
Yes, but it would depend because in Luxembourg, like I said, it's very multicultural, so we have many different systems of schools. We have the Luxembourg system, the French system, the European school system, the international school system, and a couple of others.
Which did you go to?
I went to the European school system. So we have to do 12 subjects in our final years, and we don't really get to choose. We get to choose whether we want to do a higher level one or a lower level, but it's all in academic subjects. We don't get subjects like dance, cooking, sewing, drama. Those don't exist.
So is that something then you've taken advantage of here?
No, I personally haven't been allowed to. Because I have to study film.
Okay.
But I do have to say that I like the idea here that you get to choose loads of different subjects because it forces you to do subjects you might have not wanted to do, and then in the end you've really enjoyed them and it's something you might want to go on with.
Okay.
But I feel like you choose your major in your junior year, and I feel like 2 years isn't enough time to go in depth enough in a subject.
Okay, so we've covered a little bit about food, education, fun. Is there anything else that I should know or that our viewers should know about Luxembourg?
Okay, well, this is random, but Luxembourg, as you know, is small. It's a tenth of New Hampshire. Boston's population is greater than the Luxembourgish population.
Oh, wow.
And more often than not, when you're walking around in certain areas of Luxembourg, if you get lost, you will end up in another country.
Oh, that's too funny. And where exactly, so that everybody knows, is it located?
In the middle of Belgium, France, and Germany.
So you must get to travel a ton then.
Yes, I do. I'm
Oh,
lucky. But most
great.
people in Europe do. So
that's-
it's good.
So now I feel like I've got a really good sense of what life is like over in Luxembourg. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today, Lana. And please tune in next week and we'll learn about a new culture.